Fresno State freshmen, could fraternity hazing have played a part? A poultry giant felled by the rising cost of feed. The latest on the Zaki Farms bankruptcy. And from vine to wine, we'll show you a valley harvest you're sure to have a crush on. The news at 6 starts right now.
This is the 6 o'clock news on KSEE-24. News that matters.
With the breaking news out of southeast Fresno, police are at the scene of a standoff in the 6700 block of Harwood near Butler and Temperance. Officers say a man is held up inside a house with a gun. Jobin Paniker is on the scene. And Jobin, what's going on out there?
Well, Stephanie, the standoff is going on 5 hours right now. Here's what we know. We do know that there's a Hispanic man inside this home. We do know that he has a gun. We do know that he's distraught about something. Police are keeping us about 2 blocks away from this home. We want to show you some pictures from earlier today. SWAT vehicles just arriving. It started at about 12:30. Police got a call about a man who was distraught through family and a friend. Police are able to talk with this man inside. At one point, he actually came out and yelled that he had a shotgun. Then just after 12:30, he fired a shot inside his home. Now, not at police. He fired another shot at about 4:30, again, inside his home, not at police. Now, people at the homes next door have been evacuated. We saw some residents standing around. We saw some school kids waiting to get home. Police say this is still a fluid situation.
It's a very volatile type thing because we're doing every effort we can to calm him down and to just come on out and talk to us.
Now, we learned just in the last hour here that police are able to talk with him over the phone. Now, just to recap, man inside a home, Hispanic man, distraught about something. He's fired 2 shots already, and everyone here hoping for a peaceful ending. Reporting live here in Fresno, Jobin Paniker, KSEE-24 News.
Jobin, thank you. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and bring you the latest details as they develop.
A southeast Fresno convenience store employee is lucky to be alive tonight after a very strange car crash. It happened about 3 o'clock this afternoon at a 7-Eleven at Church and Chestnut. The driver, a woman in her 90s, was leaving the store at the time, but instead of hitting the brakes, she hit the gas. Police say the store employee was pinned in the debris of the crash for a short period of time, but has been freed and taken to a nearby hospital. No word, though, on the clerk's condition right now. Hazing is now suspected in the death of a Fresno State student, Philip Donnan, who died of alcohol poisoning just over a month ago.
According to court documents released Tuesday, Donnans was encouraged to drink heavily the night he died. The documents reveal details of a ceremony with Theta Chi members, a ceremony that may have led to his death. It's a developing story at 6. Justin Willis joins us now with the latest. Justin.
Well, Stephanie, Philip Donnans was pledging to enter the Theta Chi fraternity, and in the court document that was made public Tuesday, pledges endured a night of heavy drinking, which left Donnans unconscious and not breathing. The search warrant in the Philip Donnans investigation has been made public and states 2 fraternity members are suspected of being responsible for the incident. It was all part of a pinning ceremony during which multiple bottles of alcohol were passed around to pledges. According to the warrant, the first 2 bottles of alcohol were finished by the pledges within an approximate 10-minute period. The document also states the pledges all voluntarily drank and none were forced. However, they were all encouraged to drink as members chanted the fraternity name. After consuming a considerable amount of alcohol within a 1-hour period, Philip Donnans exhibited severe symptoms of intoxication. When asked if he was all right, Donnans answered no and passed out. Members later noticed Donnans was unconscious and not breathing. Documents reveal fraternity members checked on Philip Donnans, who was laying on the floor of what they call the drunk room. They immediately noted that Donnans had vomited and was pale in color. CPR was administered while other members called 911. Donnans was pronounced deceased September 2nd. Fresno police say it's an ongoing case and are not yet ready to discuss details of the investigation, but Fresno State released a statement regarding the search warrant and said Fresno State is awaiting the completion of the police investigation before deciding on the appropriate university response to this tragic incident. And there was no comment from Theta Chi, and calls to the fraternity's international headquarters were not immediately returned. Stephanie, back to you.
Justin, thank you. Fresno State fraternities and sororities suspended Rush Week activities following Donan's death. Fraternities have resumed regular activities, and the sororities are expected to begin fall recruitment tomorrow.
One of the largest employers in the Central Valley is now bankrupt. Monday, poultry plant Zaki Farms filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. It's a developing story tonight. KSEE-24's Angela Greenwood spoke to a bankruptcy attorney about what all this means. Angela.
Well, but the good news is business shouldn't be affected. There are no plans right now to let any employees go or to shut down the plant. And actually, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy to avoid these types of things from happening.
Soaring feed costs have pushed a Fresno poultry giant over the edge. Monday, Zaki Farms filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Chapter 11 is actually reorganization, and what that means is they're trying to reorganize their debts.
The company is drowning in debt. Court documents show it owes between $50 and $100 million to at least 20 creditors. Company officials say they spend nearly $2 million a week on feed and simply can't keep up.
The corn prices are so high, and various other commodities are so high, it's really hurting farms that feed the corn and the grain.
The company provides about 1,000 jobs in the Central Valley. Fresno bankruptcy attorney Peter Fierce says people shouldn't be too concerned.
Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep the business operating.
Danny Killian found out Zaki Farms was bankrupt yesterday. He wants to work for the company.
That don't bother me. I mean, as long as they don't go out of business. Right. That's all I care about.
Today, he was in front of the plant filling out an application.
As long as they're employed, that's fine with me. And if I get a job, as long as I get my paycheck, then that's fine.
Zaki is looking for a $71 million loan to keep its business afloat. By mid-January, the company could be auctioned off.
At this point, it's just the time to see what's going to happen. We're going to see what's going to happen. They're going to try and sell it as a going concern. Looks like they're trying to keep everybody employed, but I don't know if it's a reason to worry just yet.
And we did reach out to a Zaki consultant who is handling this bankruptcy issue. She declined to comment. Bud.
All right, Angela, thanks. Zaki Farms incidentally opened back in 1928 and is one of the country's largest turkey producers.
It's one of the most polarizing topics on this year's ballot. 27 days from now, California voters will decide whether to repeal the death penalty. Jobin Paniker talked with district attorneys who say this keeps them from doing their job.
The Valley's top prosecutors and the sheriff were unified on Wednesday. They're fighting to keep the death penalty. Prop 34 would replace the death penalty with a life sentence without the possibility of parole.
Without this type of consequence, what kind of message does it send to those who commit the worst kind of crimes?
The sheriff and prosecutors kept talking about a tool they say they need to exact justice.
You're abandoning the victims who are surviving the loss of a loved one from a monstrous act.
But the other side is also speaking up. The Safe California campaign is saying it's exactly what a cash-strapped California needs.
Replacing the death penalty with life in prison without parole will save California $130 million a year. Vote yes on Prop 34.
Phyllis Loya lost her son a few years back. He was a police officer, and the killer is now on death row.
There's two things that every family wants. They want the sacrifice of their loved one never to be forgotten, and they want justice. Justice is our consolation.
If approved by voters, it would also create a $100 million fund for law enforcement to help solve homicide and rape cases.
A death penalty sentence does cost taxpayers more. Death row inmates get a legal team for life.
Jobin Paniker, KSEE-24 News.
It's one of the busiest times of the year for local winemakers. Many of them are excited about this year's harvest. Dan Rubin checked out some local wineries and managed to stay focused enough to deliver this report. Dan?
Yeah, swish and spit, Bud. It's the best way to keep your wits about you. Well, you know, when most people think of wine, they think of Napa or Sonoma, but the Central Valley has a lot to offer the wine world. Driving into Mendota, you wouldn't know it's here. But tucked away amidst the farmland, something special is beginning to grow.
We have found that there's some of the wines that we used to buy from other vintners that we're not buying now because we're much happier.
Cardella Winery is just one of many places to enjoy high-quality wine in the Central Valley. Its gorgeous surroundings are comparable to anything you'd see up north.
In terms of consistency and quality, there couldn't be a better place to grow grapes.
Even people in Napa would have to agree. About half of the grapes they use in their wines actually come from the Central Valley. This year, vines yielded more grapes than average.
Grape prices have been, this year, they've been very high, which is really good.
Other growers are beginning to catch on. New wineries are popping up all over the Central Valley.
We're picking out specific parts of fields, some of the best areas and some of the best vineyards, and trying to make the best wines we can out of it so that we can have sort of a local product.
Jeff Iribarren is about to roll out his first bottles. He's hoping they'll get a warm reception.
Fresno hasn't been a big area for local wines, but it's really starting to grow.
Now, local wines are starting to get more notoriety as some are getting top honors at statewide tasting competitions. And because many of those places are new and hard to find, the people working at the wineries are quite friendly. All the quality of Napa without that air of stuffiness that keeps so many people away from trying new wine.
And we hate that stuffiness, don't we?
We do. I do, at least, certainly.
Since it's a busy time of year for vintners, there are a lot of fun events coming up as well, and they're not stuffy at all. To find a full list, go to our website. It's KSEE-24.com. Click on the news link section, and it'll list every one of them for you.
All right, let's take a quick check of the weather with AJ, and pretty nice today. Hopefully more is on the way.
Beautiful, yeah. I'd call it autumn weather. How about you, AJ?
I think you're correct. A non-stuffy day, so it's real nice outside. Temperatures are down, and folks have been posting on my Facebook asking me how's it going to be at Weiser tonight at the fair, and so it's going to be all right with some clouds, and take a look at our satellite picture, an isolated chance of showers. You can see it happening mainly over mountain areas, some then spreading to the Bay Area and some over the northern parts of the valley. But right now we're at 74 in Fresno and Madera, Visalia and Tulare at 73, Hanford and Lemoore 72, 63 in Yosemite, 66 in Mariposa. Temperatures down to the 60s tonight under partly cloudy skies for Fresno. 11 o'clock we'll be there anyway. Tomorrow, a chance at a shower and a high of 75 degrees. Now, after that, there may be a sprinkle Friday, but generally the weekend will be clearing and getting warmer too. And we'll have your complete 7-day outlook coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, AJ. Much more ahead tonight on the news at 6. First, No Birds Allowed, a collection of stately scarecrows, goes on display in the South Valley.
And later tonight, a tale of doping and denial. The case against 7-time Tour de France champ Lance Armstrong is released to the public.
These stories and more when the news at 6 continues.
You're watching KSEE-24, and this is the news at 6.